people. Let's wait for this to boot up a little bit. Wait for the little notification to let me know that we're live. Okay. So, another case of government-sanctioned financial abuse on single parents with children now taking place in WA. So, you people would have seen the story of Mahalia on Gwyn 7. She lives in a town in WA where she couldn't use the card to buy food, but she could use it to buy alcohol, right? The situation's got a lot worse since the Gwyn 7 news article came to light. And I'm going to go through this because I'm going to explode. I've just got off the phone. Hang on a second. Oh, sorry. The dog wanted to come up on the chair. So I've just got off the phone with a very distraught Mahalia. All right. And I'm going to go through what they've done to her. So in the last 4 weeks, they denied her paying her rent. They've stuffed her around. Right. She's asked and asked and asked how could she download it off of the app. Nobody would tell her. Right. No one would tell her how she could do it. She's only on a phone. This presumption that we all have printers and we all have computers, which is, you know, in Mahalia's case and like so many others, she doesn't have access to these things, right? So it's just getting ridiculous what they're doing to her. I've got to get this straight because I'm going to explode. Right, so she's actually sending me some documents at the moment and some messages. So that's the dings. Right. Yeah, so I'll start from scratch. They're not letting her pay her rent after 4 weeks. She's managed to pay 1 week's rent out of her cash portion. So she's 3 weeks behind. Hang on a second. I'll just let her know that I'm live now because she's in messages. So she's 3 weeks behind, and so far everything she's tried to do, they've knocked back. So she was told to get a letter from her owner. She did that. Not good enough. Told to get the rent certificate. No one would tell her how to download it or even how to get it printed off. To get it printed off means she has to travel 30 kilometres to get it printed off because there's nowhere in town. The little community centre has one computer and you need cash. Now, she cannot access any cash in that town whatsoever. At an ATM or through an FPOS machine, she can't withdraw any cash out of her 20% portion in that town anywhere, right? So this is causing other issues, which I'll get to in a minute. So she's tried to upload the documents after being told last fortnight that the rent certificate was coming. Well, it showed up on Friday. Okay, so today is the 27th of the 4th. It's Tuesday. We had a public holiday yesterday. She was chastised about that, not sending it in quick enough. Right, she only got the damn document on the 23rd, which was Friday. Okay, she uploaded what she thought was what they wanted, was the middle section of the document, which was the rent certificate. And then she's rang today because she was told on Friday she had a temporary approval to pay rent. But when she tried to pay the rent, of course, it was declined. She wasn't allowed to pay rent. So she rang today and she was spoken over, rudely spoken down to, right, chastised because the document wasn't sent in time. Well, she arrived it on Friday, and I've got evidence of the document right in front of me, and it says it's not due until the 4th of May. But they're saying, no, what you've sent is not enough, right? We can't accept that. You'll have to do it all again. Right, which means you'll have to download it and then you'll have to take it and get it printed off and then you'll have to upload it again. Right, it's just ridiculous what they've put this woman through. She's got 3 children, okay. You know, we're talking 5-year-old, 2-year-old and an 8-week-old. Right, Oh, wow, Donna, that's fantastic. I will pass on that information for you. Oh, wow. Thank you, Donna. I'll let her know straight away. Actually, I'll direct her to she's walking her 5-year-old to school. She's late because of all this stress of being on the phone. But I'll pass it on. Thank you very much, Donna. This is ridiculous, isn't it, what we have to do? So they won't accept her rent certificate because she didn't have the cover letter that went with it, apparently. And even so, the document that she has got, it clearly states 4th of May is when it has to be handed in. They're just dicking her around. And this isn't the worst of it, okay? At the moment, her landlord's being pretty patient, but her landlord's only about a year older than her. And she's, you know, you can't expect landlords. They've got mortgage repayments to pay, you know. So, Anne Ruston, this is government-sanctioned financial abuse, right? This is abuse, okay? They're dicking her around. Nobody's helped her until today. Somebody's explained how to download it on a phone, but they all assume that she's got a printer to print it off. It's a 30-kilometre bus ride in which she's got to ring the bus company to pre-approve the transaction for her bus ticket because they don't take cash and she can't access cash anyway. All right? So she can't get any cash out in her town. Will do, Donna, definitely. She can't get any cash out in her town at all. So she's having to do things a bit of a different way. Now, she got knocked back on her opt-out and they were questioning her as to her expenditure from her personal ANZ bank account where she transferred funds to her father for fuel money, right? Because what she's having to do is she has to transfer funds to her friends or her family in other towns to go and do shopping for her so that they can bring it to her because she can't access cash and she can't. The food in her IGA is stale and it is expensive, right? So when the fruit starts to rot, the guy just cuts the bad bits off. She's finding it better for her children to send her friends money and they go and do the shopping in the bigger town and come out and drop it off with fresher, cheaper food, right? This is just getting ridiculous what they're doing to this woman, right? But now she's worried because when she wants to put her next opt-out through, it's going to be the Spanish Inquisition as to who have you been transferring money to and why. Well, she can't get cash out in her town. She has to pay her childcare fees out of her cash portion, right? Because she can't do her normal direct debit, right, from her bank account, from the Indu card to the daycare centre. So she has to do that using her $200 portion every 28 days until that falls out of sync, of course. All right, it is just getting ridiculous what they're doing to this mum. All right, and it's got to stop. This is happening all over the country. Now, there's going to come a time where the landlord's going to want the rent paid. Now, when they do finally get this sorted out, bear in mind, we've been with this story for 4 weeks now, right? She won't be allowed to pay up the arrears. She will stay in those arrears because they won't let her transfer the whole amount that's stuck in her rent category to fix up those arrears. All right, so they're happy putting a single mum with 3 small children in rent arrears to the tune of 3 weeks. That puts her over her 2 weeks in advance. That puts her at risk of homelessness. Oddly enough, this all happened after they knocked her back for an opt-out after she went on Gwyn 7 TV about not being able to buy food in her own town. All right? It's not good enough. Anne Ruston, this is abuse. This is destroying a young woman. Right? I'm on the phone to this woman. She's in bits this morning, absolutely stressed out. She's been lied to. She has been on the phone and she's been pillar to post. between families, between Services Australia, between Indu. She's been lied to. She's been told misinformation. And then they're going, oh, we'll have to send you out another rent certificate. That's another $7-day delay. Another week's worth of rent behind. She's due to pay her rent again tomorrow. By using her cash portion to pay 1 week last fortnight, that's going to bugger up being able to pay her childcare fees. This is deliberately financially destroying people, and this is not on. Not on at all. No, this is just crap. So, she's going to take her little one to school, and then I've advised that she also ring the senators, and she start jumping up and down, because this is not good enough. This person is forced to she's transferring money from her personal account, right, in order to get others to go and do her shopping. And she has to pay fuel money to these people for doing it, because she doesn't drive, she doesn't have a car, and she's 30 kilometres away from the nearest biggest town and the Centrelink office anyway, right? And it's just too hard for her. She's trying to, raise 3 kids. Now, she fled domestic violence from this region, from Hinkler region, right? When she got down there, they wouldn't even let her buy furniture. They wouldn't let her buy beds. They wouldn't give her access to money. She's had to scrimp and scrape to build a home, right? And they do this to her. It's not right. It's wrong. And I'm getting dead set sick of it. They're ignoring the rental problems, and it's getting beyond a joke. How many more people do they want homeless? And then they'll knock her back because she's at risk of homelessness. They made her at risk of homelessness just like they did to Tempest. They did the same bullshit to Tempest. No, you're not allowed to pay rent at the house you're in, right? They made her homeless, and she ended up bouncing, couch surfing and everything. At the moment, they've made an exception, and she's allowed to pay a little bit of rent, but that's because she's just had a baby who is about 8 days old under caesarean section, and she has to stay somewhere, right? It's ridiculous what they're doing. It is government-sanctioned financial abuse. Can't say anything more about it. It is causing mental distress, right? Financial collapse, mental health collapse. This woman is distraught. There's no supports in her region. There's nowhere for her to go, right? The little tiny community centre that's there has 1 computer, and you have to pay. That's it. She's isolated. She's unable to access cash. She's unable to pay her rent, right? And you can't pay her childcare fees using the card. What can you do? Oh, and by the way, Anne Ruston came on TV on that Gwyn News crazy card report saying that the department were going to look into it. They also told Gwyn News that they would be in contact with Mahalia to help her sort it out. Guess what? Mahalia's still waiting for the minister's office to sort it out. Instead, they've gone and made it worse. They've gone and made it so she can't pay her rent. They've put her behind in her rent, right? And they have the audacity to question why she sent $50 of her own money out of her own personal account to her dad for fuel to go and get shopping for her. How dare they? How dare they? But this is what they do to card holders. Now, card holders' personal accounts have nothing to do with Indu, right? There's overreaching with telling people, well, what did you do with that? What did you do with that? You've got no friggin' right to be snoozing through people's private bank accounts, right? Bad enough that, you've got 80% of their money tied up on the Indu card. You can see exactly what they do with that 80% of the money. But invading their privacy and the Spanish Inquisition over who you've sent money to out of your personal account, excuse me, overstepping the mark here. Gestapo, right? This is Australian citizens. And I'm going to say this to everybody out there right now. If you support this, you support financial abuse, you support financial apartheid, and you support stripping people of their legal rights. Because if this happened in the normal world out here, and a person had access to their legal rights under law, solicitors would be lining up. to take on the cases. But to strip these people of their legal rights and protections, and lawyers are going, oh, I'm too scared, right? This is Australian families they're destroying. And it destroys them for years. It's not good enough. Where's the consumer protection? Who gives the department the right to ask personal questions about her money in her personal bank account? Right? This bullshit about you need to be accountable to the taxpayer. No, I'm sorry. But my next door neighbour has no right to know about my fucking finances. Sorry about the language. My next door neighbour has no right to be poking my nose in my fridge and telling me what I can and can't eat. And this is where it's coming down to. And it's not right. It's not right at all. So please, if you want the card, send us your stories. Make a video. Videos are a lot more impactful. If you're being impacted, right, and you've had a gutful, and you want to speak out, send us a video. Okay, if you don't want to show your face, that's fine. Get a book, put it there, phone, give us your voice. All right? I'm over this. It's disgusting. I've got women with small children all over the country going through this. They have no peace of mind. They have no sense of social security because they never know from one day to the next, will the card work? Will they be able to pay their rent? What fuck-up's coming next? I'm sorry, I'm angry, I'm swearing. I don't normally swear here, but I've had a gut full of... I'm not a social worker, I'm not a counsellor, right? But I'm having to say these people ring me anytime because no one else is there for them. And that's not fair. Right? I'll be there for them to the best of my ability, and I'll direct them to the people that I know that may be able to help them. This is Australia, not a third world country where you kick the poor down the street. Right? This doctrine that this government's got is religious dogma is controlling this, and this is ridiculous. It's for the profits of private individuals and companies who are making money off of causing these people this stress and this misery and destroying families' security. We are in a housing crisis. Don't make any more families homeless. And Ruston, you should hang your head in shame. You carry on about keeping women and children safe. When they flee domestic violence, right, your government department puts them on a damn cashless debit card and then abuses them all over again. That's not keeping women and children safe. Right? That's cool. Goody, goody, we got another cash cow. We got another one we can make money off of. Too bad what it does to them. Too bad how insecure it gives. Oh. You know. Yeah, this is just disgusting. People ring your senators. Don't stop. People keep writing letters to the editor. If you're on the card, speak up. Write letters to the editor. You don't even have to use your own name. Contact the media. You don't have to use your own name. Okay? But start speaking out. Because this is not fair. I don't know how many people I've come across that have been made homeless, moved states, right, had to flee, and they're being treated like this. You know, and I mean, she's not the first parent not to be able to pay her childcare fees. Very common, right? It's not the first parent to be put behind in rent. Because that happens from day one when you get put on the card and all the delays. Right? She's not the first one to be denied access to food. Oddly enough, she could buy alcohol, but she doesn't drink. And alcohol's not going to feed the kids. You know what I mean? Bullshit. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and this needs to be blown up. All over Twitter, everything, okay? It's not good enough. Right? It's not good enough that this government expects charity to step in replace social security. Sorry, that's, no, that's not on. The government's responsibility is social security and the welfare and the health of our people. All right? We're not going back to the 19th century, the 1800s, where it's the charities' responsibilities and the communities, right? And we're having families on the streets begging. That's what they're doing to us. For God's sakes, people, don't vote LNP at all. All one nation. So they just want to drag us back 150 years, and they treat women and children like crap. And that's so much for safety, protection against domestic violence, when you're using domestic violence against them. Financial abuse is domestic violence. Doesn't matter whether it's done by a single perpetrator or whether it's being done by this government. Coercive control and being spoken down to and overspoken on the telephone until you break down and cry, and then, oh, the call drops out. How convenient. You know what I mean? And you've got to start all over again. Playing with people's mental health, playing with their finances, playing with their lives. Not good enough. This woman has to transfer funds from her personal account to friends' accounts so they can go and get good food and shopping and bring it to her, because where she's living is too expensive, stale, out-of-date food, and it's too expensive. She can't access cash in the town herself. She's boxed every which way. And now they're stuffing around with her rent. They're stuffing around with the only little bit of security that she's got, the roof over her and her kids' house. Roofs, you know, the roof over their heads. Not good enough. Anyway, spread the word, people. All right? This has got to stop. This has got to stop. You saw what they do to Sophie. She's only moving house. They won't let her pay the in-between rent to her landlord. You know what I mean? They stuffed her around and chased her out of Hinkler as well. You know? I've seen what they've done to Tempest and O'Kelly. And this is ridiculous. And there's plenty of other women that I've spoken to over the last 2 years. It's not good enough. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Anyway, I'm going to go. I've got to pass on some information to her, and yeah, I'll give her a ring back and see how she's going. All right. Thanks, guys. Sorry I got a bit sweary, but that happens when I get really frustrated, because there's no reason to do this to people. To continually keep bouncing a person around for 4 weeks from one department to the other, to the other, to the other, all telling her different stories, different lies, right? And, yeah, this is just crap. So, yeah. Hopefully she can get it fixed. Hopefully. All right, people. I'll talk to you later. See ya.